All right, so I'd like to call to order the Wednesday, October 16, 2024 meeting of the Lower Safford Township Board of Supervisors. And ask everyone to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for one nation, indivisible. You. And with that, we're looking to our first and only public comment period. Is there anyone wishing to be recognized? Hearing none, I'll look for a motion to approve the work session meeting minutes of October 1, 2024 and September 18, 2024, provided there are no additions or corrections.
I'll make a motion to approve. Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Public Works Director, Mr. Jones.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you? An update on some projects, Burry's Mill Road Bridge project, still trying to connect with H&K, but I did notice that they have a storage trailer that's parked at the park in the driveway. So we're trying to work through that and figure out what their plans are. But it seems the work is proceeding on that project. Roberts Road Bridge, did get final confirmation from the County Roads and Bridges that the bridge will be removed to 2 feet below the existing grade. And I believe they are working with the property owner, the Ingalls there on the any right-of-way compensation and minor tree issues that they're concerned about. That's moving forward.
Okay, I know we've beaten this to death. On the Skipback Creek Road side of that, obviously to be taken down to 2 feet below grade, the road gets removed also back to the edge of right of way of Skipback Creek, so it doesn't look like there was a road there anymore.
I believe so, but
Okay. You see, and is there any protective? It's pretty close to the edge there.
It
Yeah.
yes.
As long as it doesn't look like there was even, I don't know if they'll plant a couple trees or do something on that line to sort of fill in what was the riparian area there.
Update Google Maps and, you know, you can always drive.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So really, I know everybody has to, I really appreciate your discussion on that. It was an awkward situation, meeting with the residents to, find a good solution. Thank you.
The other road sidewalk, on that project, this is the sidewalk plan from Burwell to Galt Road. Main Street sidewalk, working on sign relocation. I got preliminary pricing from the sign contractor to relocate the signs. Not an unreasonable price. I'm also trying to get pricing for just installing new and seeing how that compares with relocating.
Paying attention, and they're either turning around in the intersection, they're going through and turning around in the park ground, they're doing, I don't know if there's any more pre-notice, like a little bit more permanent pre-notice at the intersection of Upper Mainland and Quarry that needs to be done to prevent that, what I'll call westbound traffic.
Yeah, I'll take a closer look at that. I know the contractor had some discussions about that. The traffic coming from Store Road.
Yeah. When the big sign, when this message board was there, you could see it, and I think it allowed people to understand that. But as soon as that was gone, it's sort of like And you witness it quite a bit, than people just doing a turnaround in the middle of the intersection.
Thank you.
Public Works and Community Center project. Scheduled with CKS tomorrow to review. Some layout options for the new community center building. To discuss circulation and kind of alignment and those kinds of things, and before they get into the drainage portion of it, but that's moving forward. We invited Tony Ganguza from Loyal to attend that as well, so he can continue to stay up to speed on the progress we're making in the direction that we're headed. Some grant projects, the 63 and 113 signal modernization. Higgins began that project last week with doing temporary electric and doing foundations for the new signal poles. So that work is moving forward. Apparently there was some issues with traffic delays on Main Street, Southern Town or 63. I think it's part of it because the signal is in recall, which means that every approach, every leg, every phase gets the full amount of time. It's not, adjusting based on traffic conditions. So we're working with PennDOT to see if there's some interim temporary timings that can be implemented for, for the AM and the PM peaks to address the traffic concerns. So that's moving forward. The Main Street Adaptive Project contract was awarded to Armour and Sons. And then the signal upgrades for the Main and Maple and Main and Huntsberger intersections, that was part of the Green Lake Go grant that we awarded. We got the fully executed grant agreements from the state last week, so we now begin working on the design for those upgrades. The department activities, we finished the court resurfacing at Booper Park. Basketball courts is the final product, and the hockey rink is an interim step. I think we've talked in the past about, the significant cracking that was in the existing asphalt and the repairs that we made. We want to make sure that those repairs are final. So we're just did a preliminary surfacing and striping for this year. Next year, after it goes through a winter, we'll take a look and make sure none of the cracks have resurfaced, and if they have, we'll do some more repairs and then do the final resurfacing next year. And the coating will be what they call an ice blue, so it'll be a light blue color and it's smoother, so it's designed for roller hockey rinks.
Doug, just want to say that looks fantastic. I stopped up there yesterday and just an amazing job.
The guys did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
They really did.
I mean, to be all in-house and save us the money. I know you identified that as an opportunity to save a bunch of money, and it's great work.
It's a project that my team enjoys undertaking.
Good.
They can see the results of the work.
Yeah,
And you can see the pride, and
Yeah.
it's really good.
Yeah.
very skilled.
We really do take a lot of pride in. Sure.
Installing use at 7 AM this morning, so it's already,
Sorry.
there's somebody using it at 7 AM this morning, so.
Continue our roadside mowing process. Also had 2 employees, Brad Knack and Kevin Hill, that are attending pesticide applicator training. This will allow, currently Brent Ollenbach is our pesticide applicator. His time is better spent managing projects and managing the workload. So with these other 2 employees, we get them certified, and then we free Brent up to do more appropriate work for him. Grace and I attended the Conservation District's dirt and gravel low volume road training yesterday. And this is to maintain our eligibility for grant funding through the low volume road program. So we're working on some potential projects and identifying different things. And part of that is doing traffic counts to verify that the roads and the projects would qualify for the low volume road. It's a 500 cars per day threshold. So there's a select few number of roads in the township that do qualify. So we're in the process of identifying those and doing traffic counts, and then working with the conservation district to see if we can identify projects that would be applicable for funding. Today we're doing making some repairs on Clemens Road, the left turn lane as you approach Main Street. Had a couple areas where the base has failed. So we're looking to repair that, so that today that intersection with the Clemens Road leg of that intersection will be closed to eastbound traffic heading away from Main Street. Westbound coming towards Main Street will still be open, so that closure will be from 9 to 3 today. That is all that I have. Be happy to answer any questions anybody has.
There was just one comment. When I happen to be going by 113 and Crestman Road all the time now. And I know it's not our issue because it's a state road, but it's very difficult to see coming from Township Line Road on Crestman to 113 to the left there with I know that it's the neighbors, the residents bushes out front there, but it's horrible. It's really hard getting out of that intersection.
Sometimes 13, the property on the left side, I don't know, I think that property might be uninhabited.
Okay.
So
I have a feeling.
and the property on the right is very protective of their shrubbery. So they have
Not shrubbery, it's weeds.
planning on
Can't we just defoliate it away?
Is in the eye of the beholder.
it's within the town or within the state right away.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I need to
Can we just defoliate it and be done with it? I mean, it's bad.
you can,
You actually, I have to put the front of my truck out in the road.
it's
to see.
just part of it is the alignment of the.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
The jump.
And I know it's not really our issue, but I think it's something we need to address.
Well, I look at those as like, okay, it's a safety issue for the resident, for the motorists that are on our road. And not necessarily on the state road, so we take that as our responsibility.
Okay.
I will look at that again and reach out, and if.
If it's in the right, I just whack it down and ask for forgiveness later. I mean, it's really not a good situation.
The problem is it becomes a routine.
Well, right.
concern.
Right.
So it's not just a one and done,
Yeah.
but I'll see what we can do.
Thank you.
Maybe if your insurance shop was in a different location.
Yeah,
you
well,
might have this issue.
I have to be going by there. No, but it's not just me. There's other people.
Question on the right, house roof, is there any development on that?
That's in process at this point,
Right.
correct, Grace? I forget the deadline for it. We're looking at the local share account funding program for that. And I also have it as a proposed item in my proposed budget for 2025. We hope to get to it this year. It just didn't happen. But yeah, it's definitely on our radar and working towards a resolution for that and final replacement.
Awesome. Thank you.
Anything else for Mr. Jones?
Thank you.
All right, very good. Thanks, Doug. Moving on, Chief Medwin.
Yes, sir. Two very brief updates. The Oakborough park cameras are up and running. This brings us up to 6 parks covered by 26 cameras. And they're fine and rarely need to be restarted. The other thing is the license plate reader. The vendor for the LPR has reached out to Higgins. They have a plan. We're getting the equipment up, and then once it's up, better back in to get it all communicating with us, access to its server.
And that's at the 11363 intersection.
Correct.
It's part of that upgrade.
And this is good. This is gonna be done with the upgrade. They're gonna wait for that.
That's their plan, is to get it all done at the same time. And have one camera.
Avoid 113.
We'll find.
Very good.
You haven't looked under your bumper recently.
It's, now that we're, almost 2 months into school starting, what's the volume been of our, school bus camera? About the same, anything? Yeah, okay.
All right, anything else for Chief? All right,
Thanks, Tom.
terrific. Thanks, Tom. Building and zoning, Mr. Buki.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll keep this brief this morning. The total permits so far, we have 37, which is an uptick from last month. But it's also expected, we should expect a little bit of work during October and November, and then down into December, and then starts to ramp up in the next year. We do not have any zoning hearing board applications for November. And at our upcoming planning commission meeting this month, we have 645 Store Road, which is a 4-lot subdivision. Just before Alexandria Estates on the same side of Store Road. So that'll come in, we'll discuss that. And then we have a floodplain awareness initiative that we've been working on. And as part of that initiative, Greg was putting together some brochures for the whole thing, for the public outreach. And here's just a couple draft. We're not done yet, but that's draft. And she's using her environmental sciences talents and her graphic talents, put that together. She's also working on mapping. But it's something that we're doing in order to bring the public awareness up on floodplain dangers, where they're located, and what. So it's for work, property identification, mapping, and outreach. And this,
Terrific.
and that's my effort.
Excellent. Any question or comments for Mike?
Oh, very nice.
Nice work, Grace. All right, moving right along, Mr. Dutkowsky, Township Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One item on the manager's report this morning is the 2025 budget. Forwarded a copy to all of you yesterday with a memo outlining changes. Very quickly, the general fund has no tax increase. Again, this year revenues will be looking at $12,745,905. Expenditures $11,216,596, and we are budgeting for a end of year reserve of $1,529,309. I will note that this year, we noted it in this year's budget 2024 and our budgeting for the transfer from the golf fund for the debt, their portion of the debt payment this year. The general fund does show an expenditure increase of 5.6% over 2024. It is, I would like to note that much of that percentage increase is due to increase the transfer from the general fund to the capital fund this year. If that wasn't the case, we'd be down to about a 1.1% increase year over year for all other expenditures. Police department is showing one additional police officer this year, which would be at about a $76,500 salary, and benefits would be approximately $20,000 on top of that. And one new police vehicle. Public Works is showing one new laborer with about a $31,000 salary, and again about a $20,000 benefits package on top of that. Liquid fuels is showing $620,000 in expenditures. Most of that is going for paving of Grossville Mill Road and Indian Creek roads at $120,000. Well, north for that, but for these three projects, Nova chipping Moyer Road from 113 to Quarry at approximately $220,000, and Cape Seal, which will be to be determined, not supposed to be determined yet, about $280,000. The remainder of that fund is, as Doug has requested, to keep in reserve. Fire protection fund, we are showing a 0.17 mil increase to 0.35 mils. This would equate to about a $30.51 average increase per property in the township based on current county appraisals. $295,000 will go to the fire company. This is an increase of $97,000 over last year. Again, I think we mentioned the last meeting, we're also not doing a donation from the general fund to the fire company. So all of our transactions with the fire company will be through the fire protection fund. Additionally, the fund will include $100,000 to the fire equipment capital fund, and this will be a yearly budget item as well. Library fund, no tax increase is anticipated. Donation to the library will be about approximately $30,000. Park fund, no tax increase anticipated. We did make the change and added the $3,000 for an additional park sign at Park Avenue Fields per the request of the park board. Ambulance fund also includes a 0.15 mil increase, and that will go to 0.65 mils. That would be an average increase of $26.91 per property attached. The donation to Freedom Valley will be $700,000. And at the request of Freedom Valley, we did receive their initial budget. They requested to keep a reserve of about $50,000. We have $51,353 as they're working through their capital budgeting program. So they do have, I believe, one ambulance budgeted for 2025, but they may be doing some upgrades, chassis switches and so forth that may happen towards the end of the year. They wanted to make sure that there was some funding on that, should that happen. Capital Reserve Fund. As you know, we've been successful in receiving a number of grants over the past year or so, 2 years, which have come out to be about $3.775 million. All of these grants are retro reimbursement grants, which means the township must put the money up in front and then would be reimbursed after the project or as the project moves forward. And we did this with the Alderford Road Bridge a couple of years ago to take out a short-term loan to pay for the upfront costs and then pay that back as we receive the reimbursements from the state or through the grant program. So I'm requesting that the board allow me to work with PFM as we did in the past to get that process moving. I spoke with Jamie Schlesinger at PFM the last couple of days, and he suggested we try to do this before the end of the year, because if we're going to be moving forward with any funding for Public Works and Community Center, there is a limit to the amount that the township can borrow every year. So rather than
Put it in
put it in 24, 25, we leave 25 open for whatever we may do as far as financing for those projects. So if you're okay with me starting that process, so over the next few weeks, we'll start seeing some information from PFM, and then probably in November, the approval of an ordinance to allow for the borrow.
We have time to get it done between now.
He said that we should be able to get it done by the end of December.
Okay,
Great. So in the capital fund, public works equipment, which are generally purchased under a 5-year lease purchase, we're looking at a Ford F-550 dump truck. Total cost of that would be $127,000. An F-450 utility truck, total cost of $115,000. An enclosed cargo trailer at $12,000, and various attachment equipment, angled room, hydraulic cam, and line painting machine, which are totaling at $42,500. Also, in the capital fund would be road maintenance projects, base repairs budgeted at $100,000. Corrugated pipe replacements, and this would be at various locations throughout the township, budgeted at $25,000. Yoder Road pipe replacement project, which we've been discussing off and on for about the last year, at $110,000. And the use of cured in place pipe, and this will begin to be at various locations. We're budgeting at $100,000. Park projects budgeted under the capital fund would be trails repaving at $30,000. Possible Alderford Park parking lot repaving at $50,000. The installation of pickleball courts at Heckle Plains at $72,000. Again, this would be primarily an in-house.
Correct.
Where are you putting them at Heckler?
Existing swing sets are in the upper lot.
Oh, okay.
Plan is to relocate though and replace the existing swing set. There's a 3-bay swing set there.
Yep.
So we don't need a 3-bay location, so we're going to install a 2-bay down closer to the rest of the park. Playground equipment and kind of just clean that whole area up and make it visually appealing.
User friendly.
That's it.
And as Mr. Jones alluded to earlier, the final resurfacing of the Brook Park hockey rink is budgeted at 15,000. And as he just alluded, playground equipment for 25,000 is budgeted. Various building maintenance projects, one of which is the right roof, is budgeted under with 125,000 in the traffic in the capital reserve fund. Traffic impact fund.
Joe, can I just real quick on that one? So yeah, I see obviously the 3.7 million coming in. Would we not have any debt and interest costs in 25 on that? And should we not reflect on that? in the
I
budget?
don't have those numbers, but I will.
Maybe
get
just put an
them.
estimate in there. The other question is the $3 million in special projects, roads and bridges.
Yeah.
We're gonna spend all that next year?
Well, that includes some of the projects that I just mentioned.
Okay,
I don't know.
okay,
It's kind of a best guess at this point because hey, the nature of all these projects are
and
depending on work through PennDOT, the state. I would rather do a kind of worst case scenario
okay,
and over budget for that than not have.
got it.
Change the budget.
So just a quick comment. I mean, I saw we budgeted for an additional labor in the thing, but do you feel with all these other projects that are on the list, do you think that's enough? I mean, the one labor addition?
At this point, yes.
Okay.
I'm trying to do baby steps so that we don't have an influx of 2 new hires this year that, trying to get everybody up to speed, on how we do and what we do, can be a little bit of a daunting effort.
Right.
So I think bringing on one person next year and then we'll reevaluate and see where we are. The goal is for the department to get to the point where we can fully man 2 separate crews so that we can have a crew that's doing, ADA ramps and then still have another crew that's available to do pipe jobs, assuming everyone is here and, working around vacations and those things. So that's the goal and we're getting close to that point. And I just really would like to take, just take one step.
I mean, I've been working with Doug a little bit closer on the community center project and things from the park board, and it's amazing what our public works crew accomplishes in the time they have. So thanks for your efforts and make sure you ask for more help if you need it.
And finally, the traffic impact is showing expenditure this year. That will go towards the Route 113 shared use path project. That's 225,000, which will largely be planning that project for this year. Phase 2 follow. Any other questions?
Joe, the only other question I had on the general fund. And you and I had this conversation often, earned income tax.
Yeah.
We have a good track record now of 2022, 4.3 million, 2023, 4,383,000, 2024 projected 4,500,000. Unless we have a mass exodus of people leaving the township and their status gets it. I was thinking, do we just up that budget estimate from 4 million to 4.2 million just to be a little bit more accurate with regards to what we expect to bring in?
Sure.
Just,
I mean,
I know we want to squirrel a little bit, but
yeah.
we can be conservative and then we can be very conservative. And it's just, I think from a, transparency standpoint, there's enough track record there to, if that's only taking us back to still less than what we collected in 22.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
A couple questions, Joe. I see, it might be similar. I see that we expected to receive an additional $1 million in taxes in the fourth quarter. It's almost 3/4 million more than we expected. I was just wondering why 2025 tax number is low in comparison, if there's any anomalies here.
No, there's no anomalies. Again, I think
That's why I think it's kind of
discussion
similar
with
to the
Chris,
question there.
we tend to conservatively estimate those projects. We don't know what could happen. Every year we do get people who come in, they appeal their county assessments, and they do sometimes go down, but generally it goes up. It's just a strategy, I suppose, to ensure that we're not overextending ourselves. I mean, we could build a budget that always builds on these numbers, and I think, you know, we may look at our expenditure and say, well, we can spend more money because we have, but it's just kind of my personal philosophy to try to conservatively estimate those numbers.
I appreciate that. And I had a similar question on the state pension aid, but I'm guessing it's the same.
State pension aid is more, that's, the number is the number.
Mhm.
And I just usually base it on the number we received the year before.
Right.
It will sometimes go up. Sometimes it won't go up. Sometimes it will be exactly the same.
The other question that I had is, and I'm all for this, but I noticed that we're planning to spend less than the historical average on engineering services next year with the capital improvements and all. Is that something that because of grant?
Well, the capital improvements engineering will come out of the capital fund.
Okay. And then my only other question was, I noticed the difference in the fire marshal pay. As of last year, previous year's payments have been right around 1,000, we're looking at 25,000.
Right, so what we're doing now is we're expending the inspection services out of that line item. So the business inspections that we're doing, the fire inspections, safety inspections are being expended out. We hadn't done them before. We hadn't done them in a number of years, and then last year we restarted that program. So that's where that's.
So we have 35 expected to be collected for that.
Right.
25 for the fire marshal direct cost, and then all the other costs that go into okay.
Correct.
Thank you. No, I think they're my only questions, and I know I mentioned it before, but I know the golf had a stellar year. If they would like to make any donations for our budget this year.
Well, they have.
I know we have.
They have, I think we're estimating them to about a 400,000, a little over $400,000. We're estimating that again for next year as long as things remain the same for the golf course, and I don't see any change in that.
And when are we
They're doing well.
paying off the debt?
Final payment will be 2028, but it's a very small payment. The last major payment is 2027. I think it's about $1.2 million.
We're sneaking up on it.
Yes.
Time for another project, it sounds like.
Golf course can take that.
Well, it's their house.
Yeah, it's not hard.
All right, anything else for Joe?
Nothing other than we will have an executive session for personnel.
Very good.
Question on the executive session. It says on here for the planning commission interviews.
Yes.
Why would that be an executive session? Because I know right now you can look on YouTube and watch the interviews for our supervisors. I mean, I don't plan on asking any additional personal questions, and I think it's good to have. I just want to see what.
Well, it's
like,
considered,
why
I
we
did run this by a solicitor, and they would, he said it would be considered as a personnel issue, which we don't normally discuss. And we've never done this before. So I didn't know if it was something that, you know. We
Well,
were
and
prepared to do.
The other piece of that is supervisors are paid through tax dollars, right?
Right.
These are appointed positions, not paid. So I agree with Joe that this ought to be under executive session. With that, we'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carries.